We are live. Good evening, good evening, good evening, exceptional people. Good evening, parents. Good evening, educators, and everyone that is here to join our training tonight. We're super excited to have you join us tonight. It's going to be a swell time. Learning and unlearning. It's going to be a swell time learning and unlearning. Please go ahead and let everyone know that we are live. Um, let your loved ones know, let every parent know that we are live tonight. We're looking at how to overcome common learning challenges in our children. What are some of the common learning challenges that our children are faced with, and how do we help them? So, we'll be looking at this tonight. So, if you know anyone that should be a part of this training tonight, please do well to invite them. Invite your loved ones, invite your enemies, and invite your friends too. It's going to be an amazing time learning tonight. So if you are here, go ahead and share this link with someone so that we can learn together, okay? So we are live. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're looking at how to overcome common learning challenges in children. Please, before we go forward, I would like to know if you can see me clearly and if you can hear me. Go ahead and put that in the comment section. I'm super, super excited tonight. Please let me know in the comments that you can see me and you can hear me clearly. I'd like to see get some feedback from us. Overcoming common learning challenges in children. What are some of the learning challenges that our children are faced with, and how do we overcome them? I've listened to the heart cry of parents over the years, and I can tell you for certainty that some of the things we are crying about is simply because we do not have sufficient knowledge. We do not have sufficient knowledge to combat some of the things that we are, concerned about. So tonight, I'll be sharing with us some of these learning challenges, what you can do as a parent, an educator, or a guardian that you'll be able to put in place and help these learners to do well and to thrive. So please share this link with someone as we comment tonight. You can see me, I can see your comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I can see you. I can hear you. Thank you, David. I can see you. I can hear you clearly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's dive deep into our discussion for tonight. While you share the link, please make sure you share the link with someone. Share the link with your loved ones. Share the link with your enemies, and anyone you know that should be a part of the training tonight. So this is Network of Exceptional Tutors, and I'm Mr. Johnson, and I'll be facilitating our session for tonight. Let's dive deep into this. While I was meditating, looking at the topic that we'll be having tonight, I stumbled upon a very interesting statistics that caught my attention. And what's this statistics? It said that over 1 in 5 children struggle with some form of learning difficulty. Now, that's not my problem. The main challenge I have here is that it went further to say that yet many of these learning challenges go undiagnosed or unsupported for many years. When I was growing up, I used to help my mom in a provision store, and there's this young man that always come around. You know, young man, he comes around and to buy things, right? Um, every time he comes to get items, he always asks for me. Where is Mr. Johnson? He struggles with communication, right? So whenever he comes around, because my siblings could not understand him, my parents do not understand him. I was the only one that could literally understand him. So when he comes, he has an issue with his speech, he has an issue with communication, and then when he comes around, he just start mumbling, "Jing." He can't speak clearly. But for some reason, I don't know why I could understand him. He's over 30, and I was just about 11 or 12 years old as at the time. And when he comes around to buy things at the store, everyone immediately he comes around, everyone knows that only Johnson will attend to him. Guess what? I had no background about education. I know nothing about learning. I know nothing about learning difficulties in children. I had no idea about these things. This man was over 30, right? And he was struggling with a learning challenge, right? I was literally attending to him. I don't know, maybe it was a grace or something. I was able to understand him. And when I started studying education and I started studying special needs and a lot of learning concerns that I was seeing, I later understood that this guy actually was autistic, right? But on the milder part, he was not hyperactive, but he's autistic. He had a learning challenge, but because at that time the we had limited knowledge, right? Many people do not know what these concerns are, and no one was able to diagnose this or provide any form of support for him. Now you could see how he was struggling at age 30, you know, up until when I left that area about 10 years later, he was still unmarried, he had no friends. You know, I was literally his only friend. He communicates just to me. Now, I'm not saying that children entirely all have same learning challenges that are to the extreme. All I'm saying is that every child, you know, at some form or the other, may have some kind of learning difficulty that over the years has been undiagnosed, and then there has been very limited supports provided for these children. And this is what we want to look at tonight. What are some of these learning challenges we are seeing? How do we overcome them? It mustn't be that your child is special. It mustn't be that your child cannot talk or your child is hyperactive or any of those things. That's not the point. The point here is our children having any form of learning difficulty? Are you able to identify them? Are you able to help these children do well despite the learning consent? This is what we are looking at tonight. Please, if you have a friend or someone, a parent that should be here, I want to still encourage you, go ahead and share this with them so that they are a part of this. And if you are following me so far, I'll be excited to see your comments as we keep on delving deep into this discussion. Um, Very quickly, does this resonate with you? Have you heard a teacher or a parent mention this to you, your child, or to anyone close to you? Number one, your child dreads homework. Have you seen, is this a condition you've witnessed that your child dreads homework? Whenever it's time to do assignment or task, you notice that your child is struggling, doesn't want to do assignment. You know, every night it has to be a struggle for them to do their homework. You know, you've used reward systems, you've used punishments, you've hired home lesson tutors, not from net anyway, but then you've hired home lesson tutors and all of that, and it's still a challenge. If this is a concern for you, you are part of the people I'll be talking to tonight. Number two, have you heard a teacher say to your child that he is smart, but he doesn't pay attention, or he needs to pay a little more attention? If this is a concern for you, then you need to listen to what we're sharing tonight. Number three, if you're worried consistently that your child is losing confidence in themselves, okay, always comparing themselves to others. You know, I was even in a discussion with a parent during the week, and the parent was sharing with me how that the child is literally already accepting the fact that he is incompetent, already accepting the fact that he doesn't know anything and he's a slow learner. Accepting this. You know, it's bad enough if a child is struggling, but when that child comes to the consciousness that he or she cannot do it, you see, you are taking the child to the limit. The child would hardly believe in himself going forward. You see that now. This is a challenge. Now, if you are categorized in any of these 3 points I just mentioned tonight, then you need to pay attention to me. So tonight we're going to be unpacking some of these struggles that happens to our children. We're going to look at what we can do about them, and then we'll see how to help these children feel smart and supported and seen again. We'll see how we can make these children smart, how we can make them supported, and how we can make them seen again. Our children must not feel weak in themselves. Our children must not feel undervalued. They must not lose their confidence in themselves. And this is what we're looking at tonight. Please, I want to still encourage you, send this link to a parent. A parent will be literally blessed listening to what I'll be sharing with you tonight. Okay, send this link to a parent that's had a child that's been struggling for years. This would literally be the turning point for that child. Some of these things, right? I speak to parents all the time, and one of the things I tell them is it's not always up to the teachers. I've seen parents make this mistake over and over again. They just bundle the child and the challenges, and they dump that child and the challenges to the school and expect the school to do some form of magic. It never works that way. There must be some form of partnership between every stakeholder, everyone involved in the growth and development of that child. They must participate holistically in raising the child. And the challenge here we are having is that many parents have limited knowledge. Okay, they have challenges, and they literally do not know, that they have no idea about raising a child. They do not know that these concerns exist. If we all have the knowledge, about raising children holistically, we can come together, and raise these children wholesomely, right? And there'll be no gaps, there'll be no gaps in our parenting journey. Now let's look at some of the root causes. I do not want this session to be really long, so we're just going to dive deep into it. If you have a pen, a writing material, please get it and write, because I'll be dishing a lot of value tonight. Okay, so what are some of the root causes, right? What are some of the root causes of these learning challenges? What are some of the root causes of these learning challenges? Yusuf says, I'm following. Thank you so much, Yusuf. I'm glad to have you here tonight. What are some of these learning challenges? Please, if you are with me, I would like to keep seeing your feedback in the comment section, okay? Number one, what are some of these learning challenges in children and in raising them, right? I grouped these learning challenges into two. I grouped them into academic factors. That means those learning concerns that are caused by, that you can literally trace back to the academic journey of the child, right? So I group them into academic factors. These are some of the learning challenges that you can trace to academics. And number two, non-academic factors that lead to learning difficulties and learning challenges in our children. So we have academic factors that causes these learning challenges, and we have non-academic factors that cause learning challenges in children. Now let's delve deep into the learning concerns caused by academic factors. Number one academic factor that causes this learning challenge in our children is different learning styles. Please write that down. Different learning styles. It's funny that many parents do not know that their children or their child has a particular learning style. They do not know this. I'm releasing a video sometimes this week or next week on the various learning styles. You want to look out for it on my Instagram page, right? And you'll be seeing how to navigate that. But quickly, parents do not know that children have different learning styles. Teachers do not know that our children have different learning styles. And they continue to teach our children, insisting that they must sit down in a structured learning environment before they learn. This is a huge concern. Children must not sit down to learn. And many children, many teachers think that it's stubbornness, as you may use it, as you may call it. They say children are stubborn when you see that the child does not sit in place to do the activity. Sometimes they call the children ill-mannered. Sometimes they say the children, all kinds of things. They just say the children are not well trained and all of those things because they do not sit still to learn. Have you sat down to consider the kind of learning style that that child has? What is the learning style of the child? Is the child an auditory learner? Is the child a kinesthetic learner? Is the child a visual learner? What kind of teaching approach are you using to raise that child? If we do not consider this factor, you will constantly see your child having learning concerns. Your child will consistently have learning challenges because you do not know the learning style of the child. I wrote down here that not every child learns best by sitting still and listening. Some of them need to move, some of them need to walk, some of them need to see things before they learn. You need to write this down. If you're following me, put it down right there in the comment section. Some children need to move around. Some children need to talk. Some children need to see things before they learn. I took my son, my student, I call him my son. One of the children we homeschool at net. I took him out to the park last weekend for our learning time. We had our class entirely outdoors in the park, green environment. Many educators do not know that green, the color green, sponsors intelligence. That's a story for another day. I'm sure you'll get to learn this some other time. I'll show you the science behind the color green. Why are your parks green? Why is We'll talk about that another time. I do not want to delve deep into this. So learning styles are concerns. Learning styles, can literally cause a learning difficulty, a learning challenge in our children. Number two academic factor that cause learning challenges in children is the gaps in foundation. Write that down. The gaps in foundation. Many times, children are struggling in class because they've had a gap age. Probably while the child is in grade one, grade two, or grade three, you notice that there is a gap. The teachers maybe at the foundational age did not do a thorough job in raising that learner. So when the child gets to higher classes and they are beginning to build upon what the child should already know, in earlier stages, you see that the child begins to struggle. And when that child begins to struggle, one of the things you notice is that the child begins to harbor learning. The child hates anything book. One of my child, the children that was sent to me, to help out with, when they brought that child to me, whenever the child sees book, he runs away. He's afraid of book. He's afraid of reading any line. The moment you call him and say read this, he starts crying. You know why? He's already afraid of book. I tell you the truth. At that point, there was a foundational gap. I had to withdraw the child from every form of learning. I say, parents, see, just give me this child for a period of time. Let's do a thorough job. We have to go back to the foundation. There are gaps in foundation. If there are gaps in foundation, you will always see that your child will struggle in some form. Number three, the third academic factor that causes learning challenges in children is what I tag here curriculum mismatch. When curriculum is not tailored to the child's proficiency, you notice that that child will always struggle. There's something in education called differentiated learning. How that a child can be in grade two, but handling tasks that is either higher or lower than his pace. Sometimes I've met a very smart boy. One of the parents we work with at net, the child is a genius, super smart. Guess what? They are still teaching this child addition of two-digit numbers. Whereas while I'm at home with the child, this child has already, added five-digit numbers. The child is doing a lot of things, but the school is totally ignorant of the fact that this child is ahead. They do not know, limiting the potential of the child. They do not know that there is something called differentiated learning, and there's a way you can implement it in the class such that children who are advanced can begin to do things higher than where they are. You must not limit children. And this is the concern we see in our schools today. They limit children to what they want to teach per time. This is a challenge in our educational sector. We must come back to the drawing board. If a child is performing better, then there must be a system of advancing the child, although in that class learning the same context. There should be some form of preparation for the child to learn higher content, still on the same context. Are we together now? This is very, very important. On the flip side, if a child is struggling, if the child is in grade four, for instance, and is struggling to understand, let's say, multiplication of number, teachers should understand how to step down that context, that topic, whatever it is, step it down to the level of the child while you gradually advance the child. This is a problem we're having in our institution. And when our children struggle with curriculum mismatch, guess what? We target as dull learners. And I keep saying this, and I'll say this again, that there is no such thing as a dull learner. There is no such thing as an ignorant learner. Our children are smart, they are intelligent, they are confident. If only you understand their learning styles, if only you build the proper foundation for them, and if only you use the appropriate curriculum in teaching them. If you're learning so far, let's see that in the comment section. I can see. Thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing your comments. Thank you so much for your feedback. Now, what are some of the non-academic factors that you know causes learning challenges in children? What are some of the non-academic factors? We're going to look at them shortly. Excuse me. First of all, we have attention issues. This is a serious concern. I hope we are able to finish what I prepared for us. I think I'm dwelling so much on the topic, right? Attention issues. We have children who constantly struggle with attention. You know, some of these children struggle with ADHD, right? Or some form of sensory needs, because they have a non academic challenge called an attention deficit issue, right? And it's not that these children want to be in defiance. Whenever I see children with these attention issues, it's not that they want to be in defiance. It could be that the brain, you know, the brain lacks the ability to process the information that is being passed them to them, or sometimes the information passed to them is being processed differently, right? So you see these children very hyperactive. They want to run to touch something. You are teaching them, say sit down, they don't want to sit down. Their brain is processing things at a very different level. Attention issues. This is a concern. This is a non-academic factor that causes learning challenges in children. Number two, you see emotional stress and anxiety. When a child is anxious, the brain can't focus on learning anymore. You see the child tensed. Sometimes this tension is caused by teachers, sometimes caused by peers, sometimes caused by the learning environment. We'll talk about this shortly, but this can cause anxiety. When the child feels that the learning environment is not tailored to help them learn very well, they struggle in such an environment. Number three, self-esteem and comparison. Children can struggle with low self-esteem, and I think I want to blame teachers and parents a bit more. I want to channel my energy to teachers and parents. Listen, the way we constantly teach children, pointing out their flaws and their weaknesses, at the end of the day you will raise a child that will be scared to face any challenge. One of the core competencies that our children must graduate with or grow up with is self-confidence and high self-esteem. The reason why we have a number of children, being influenced by bad peers is because of this low self-esteem. You see children, going into drugs, doing all sorts of things is because of low self-esteem. If we as parents are quick to find out the flaws of our children, I was in a conversation with a parent over during the week, and the parent was just saying, my child is not serious. You people, I know you are doing your best. She was just pointing out how the child was. This child is literally trying his best. We're managing the learning. She could see the effort of our teachers doing well, helping the child to thrive, and she was still throwing blames. This child is not serious. No, you will weaken the confidence of the child. Your child will feel like a failure. Your child will begin to compare themselves with their peers. And guess what the Bible says? Light is a day comparing themselves with themselves and not wise. So you are making your child invariably a foolish child by ensuring that they compare themselves. This is very, very bad. I need us to take dressing. I need us to make adjustment to these things. And we'll see how we begin to address these concerns as time goes by. If you are with me, please let me know you are with me in the comment section. Thank you very much. I'm seeing your comments and I appreciate this a lot. The fourth non-academic factor we're going to look at, I'm going to really run through the strategies because we're almost out of time, is home environment and parental expectations. Many times parents place these unrealistic expectations on their children. They get the children five lesson teachers, you know, teacher teaching you coding, teacher teaching you drumming, music, everything. The things you were unable to do while you were growing up, you begin to enforce those things on your children, mounting unnecessary pressure on the children, insisting that you want them to be better than you. That's a good thing. But when it is coming from an unhealthy pressure to make the child uncomfortable, you are literally going to cause a learning concern in that child. You know, I've seen this time and again, many parents insisting that the children achieve things that when they were growing up they were unable to achieve. And it's not bad. But then when these expectations become unrealistic, you will end up raising a very feeble child. Also, the home and the environment, the learning environment, if it does not support learning, you see that your child constantly feels stressed. Okay, when there is no corner for the child to learn, when everything is scattered in the home, that child will be stressed and that child will not learn very well, right? Look out for my video. There's a video coming out tomorrow on my Instagram handle. Just go and look out for it. You will learn something really valuable about setting corners that will help your children to do well. Please look out for it. We're out here, intentionally to raise children who are holistic, right? This is our mandate. Our children must not struggle, right? Our children must not struggle because of ignorance, right? We'll do our best, to raise holistic learners, children who will thrive in any circumstance, right? Let's move forward that can help our children to thrive beyond measures. So, what are some of the actionable strategies and solutions that we can put in place to help our children to do well? Um, the first point I'm going to give you is not going to be addressed to the children. I want to first and foremost address teachers. I want to address parents. I want to address caregivers and everyone that encounters or meets children over the years. Listen to me. There must first and foremost be a mind shift. We as educators must take the time to shift our mindset from looking at that child as being dull, from looking at that child as being a feeble, ignorant, and weak child. I know that you've been trying to teach that child over and over again. You've tried your best to help the child to do well, but the child is not improving. This is not the time for you to cast blames. This is not the time for you to look at that child negatively. The moment you look at a child negatively, you begin to kill the potential of helping the child to do well, right? So you must shift that, right? You must understand that struggle does not mean failure. Struggle, when a child struggles, it doesn't mean that the child is failing. It means that the child is still learning how to learn. Sometimes children have to find a way they learn. I was with one of my children this evening and I was just so impressed at what the child is able to do. This was a child that was struggling, with mathematics, doing a lot. He was really struggling to understand simple problems. And, I was shocked when he solved a very complex problem today. I just looked at it and I was really surprised. How did you get here? Did you see that over the years, over time, giving children flexibility to learn at their pace? I was just so excited, to see what the child is able to achieve after this time. Sometimes we need to give our children some breathing space. I'm not saying that you should withdraw your support from them, but I'm saying you should stop seeing them as that feeble and weak child. Number two, we must replace certain terms we use on our children. You hear teachers say, "What's wrong with you?" What's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with that child. What's wrong with you? No. You mustn't use certain terms on that children anymore. I'm surprised how certain educators really get into the classroom anyway. You tell a child, are you daft? Can't you see? We must shift this. These terms must change. If we must raise holistic learners, educators must listen and change these terms, right? We mustn't use terms like "what's wrong with you." We mustn't use things like, are you dull? Can't you see? No. Rather, you should ask questions. Okay, I notice you are struggling with this. How can I support you? How would I help you? Do you want me to support you in any way? If you have, give that child the room to walk up to you. Are we together? Parents, do this. I'm not saying you should come to the rescue of your child at all times, but the child should be free. The child should understand that failure is not when the child doesn't do well, it doesn't mean the child is a failure. This is very, very important. Now let's look at some practical challenges and then we some practical steps to help these children, and then we'll draw the curtains for tonight. Number one, create a safe learning environment for your child. As a parent, as a teacher, you want to start by creating a quiet workspace. You know, develop or design a consistent routine, something that will help the child do well. Reduce screen time. You know, cut down screen time before study time. You know your child has assignment, shut down the TV, shut down distraction. Have a workspace where the child can sit down and learn every day. This will help the child to do well. Okay. Number two, number two, use multisensory learning tools. What do I mean by multisensory learning tools? Use different learning tools that trigger the various learning styles of the children. Because children have various learning styles, you want to trigger their various learning, right? I was doing a deep study, and at some point I got to a point where I started looking out. We have five senses in the body. You still remember the five senses of the human body? Every time I want to teach, I try to see how I can maximize all five senses in teaching my child. What do you have? Your eyes, your nose, your tongue, your skin, your ears. How do we use all these five senses? As many, I'm sure, I'm aware that you may not be able to use all five, but how many sense organ can you involve in the learning process? If you are able to use as many sense organ as possible, you can include in your learning process, you will literally be raising a child that will understand any form of learning. Get flashcards, get songs. You are teaching days of the week, look for a song, get the flashcard, get visual aids, find a story that attached to that. There is no way the child will not understand. Number three, break task into smaller chunks. Break the task into smaller chunks. Don't bombard the child with a lot, everything all at once. No, you can break the task into smaller chunks, bit by bit. Do this step one. When the child is done, come back, go to step two. Break the task down. Okay, avoid overwhelming them by using, you can also use timers, you know and show step by step guidance. Okay, don't overwhelm your child, right? Number four, I said this in our last webinar and I want to reiterate. This is the point where you want to celebrate effort and not just result. This is the point where you want to celebrate effort and not just the result, right? When you see a child doing well, don't be quick to get the result. Even if the child is struggling, don't rush to look for the result to celebrate. No, look for the effort. I see that you tried very well in doing this. I can see that look for the efforts to praise, not just the result. This is very, very important. Number 5 point I'll be giving you tonight is you want to collaborate. As a parent, collaborate with the teachers and the tutors of your child. And if you're a teacher, work hand in gloves with the parents of these children. This will help us to raise holistic learners. Ask for specific feedback. Ask the teachers, how may I support these children? Where do you need me to come in? How is this child performing in class? Teachers, ask your parents, how is this child doing at home? Where do we need to step in? What do we need to reinforce? You see, when learning is now holistic and coming from both home and schools and all angles, you see that we're raising wholesome and confident learners. The final point I'll be sharing with you tonight is introduce growth-oriented conversations. Okay? Growth-oriented conversation. Don't ask flimsy questions. You have time with your child. You are bringing your child back from school. There's time. Spend that time asking growth-oriented conversations, right? Having those conversations with your child will help the child think deeply, right? What felt hard today? What did you do differently today? How was school? Don't just ask a generic question. How was school today? Fine. Did you do it? Fine. And you're done. No, ask a deeper question. Okay, how did you navigate through these challenges? What did you do? What helped you learn better? How did when you ask questions that are open-ended, that allows the child to converse more with you, you'll be raising a child that is confident. The child will think about his action. When the child is seeing any concern or any challenge in school, he will think about the steps to take, so that when mommy or daddy asks them later, they will say, "Oh, mom, do you know what? I was angry today, but I remember our breathing exercise. I took some time. I counted 1 to 5 backward. I counted from 5 to 1 backward. I breathed in and out, and I was calm. And I noticed I did not vent my anger." Do you see that? A child is able to understand the steps to overcome challenges. Have those conversations with your child. Did anybody annoy you today? What happened in school? Who is your friend? Talk. What did your friend do today? What did you and your friend do differently? How did you? And be ready to listen. There's a popular video trending online. We listen, we don't judge. Very, very interesting, right? Every time you open up your heart to listen to your child, get ready not to judge them. Are we together? If you know you are going to judge them, you are going to say, "Why did you do this?" Better don't start the conversation in the first place. Okay? If you incorporate these things, building a safe learning environment, you engage in multi-sensory learning tools, you break tasks into smaller chunks, you celebrate efforts and not just results, you collaborate with teachers and tutors in turn collaborate with parents, right? You introduce growth oriented conversations in your discussions with your children. You will be raising holistic learners, and you will help these learners to overcome any challenge that they are faced with. If you've gotten value from our session tonight, I would like you to write that down in the comment section. What have you gotten? What value? What have you learned from the discussion tonight? Before we draw the curtain, I'm going to share with you 2 action points, things that you should do as a parent tonight, as an educator tonight. What are some of the things you need to do? And please, if you've not subscribed to this channel, you want to do that, so that the moment we go live every month, we come live with valued points, things that will change the narrative of your teaching journey, of your parenting journey. We bring them here to you on a platter, right? So you want to be part of our community, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, so that you're a part of what we are doing and our mission to raise holistic learners. So tonight I want to challenge you. Pick one strategy. You don't have to employ all of them. Start with one. What challenge will you start with? You want to consider the learning environment in your home. Start with that. Build a safe learning environment, something that will help your child to learn better, to do better at. You know, Improve the learning environment and start from there. Get some of these points. Work with the teachers. Start from there. Have open-ended conversations. Start from there, and you'll see that you're raising holistic learners. And with this, we've come to the end of our discussion for tonight. If you have any questions, you can drop that in the comment section. I'll be quick to take questions for in a minute or two before I leave your face. But I'm sure you got value tonight. If you got value, please let me know that you got massive value from our discussion tonight. Let me know that you got value from our discussion tonight. I would like to see your feedback in the comment section. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Sandra says, ask open ended questions, celebrate efforts, and have a safe learning environment. Very, very important. Um, Mena says, what's that now? Praise efforts and not just results. Very, very important. Used to say, we listen, we don't judge. Better don't judge. When you have conversations with your children, get ready to listen and not judge, right? This is very, very important. Get ready to listen and don't judge, right? If you want to have children that will be confident, that will be able to confide in you, it's imperative that, I'm still waiting for your questions, it's imperative that you are ready to listen and not judge them. This is very, very important. Yes. If you have any questions, you can drop that. Okay, and Enokola says, thank you so much, sir. Your sessions always push me to be a better educator. Thank you, sir. You're most welcome. It's a pleasure doing this. All right. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I can't see any question in the comment section, so I'll be drawing the curtains tonight. I feel like talking forever, but I need to take my rest. Okay, so thank you for joining us tonight. Please, once again, if you've not subscribed to our channel, you want to do that right away. Subscribe to our channel, and so that you stay in touch with us. You know, stay in touch. You know what we are doing in our community, and you are part of what we are doing here, right? Let's raise holistic learners together. Thank you so much. You can also share the rebroadcast of this video with your friends, with your parents. Let them listen to this and let them learn. I'll see you again next month. I'll be super excited to have us again next month. Thank you so much for joining and have a lovely evening.